Hello, fellas. How you guys doing?
How are you doing, Jacob?
Hey, Tom.
Yep.
Good evening. Looks like we got someone else joining in there.
Another huge audience, huh?
Yeah. It's, you know, if it's audience based, that's cool. It's more so archiving some conversation that I want to send out.
Sure.
You know, we had a handful, if not, I think a peak of 6 on the first one. But nonetheless, we'll give it here a couple minutes, and then we'll get started just like before.
Okay.
How's it been going since Saturday?
Trying to stay dry.
Right?
Haven't had a chance to get out and play this week because it's been raining too wet.
Yeah, I think, what was it, maybe Saturday was that last good day? Sunday it rained all day.
Yeah. Yesterday it rained. In the mornings, Monday it rained in the evening time. Then it rained here all day today. So off and on, but most of the day. So tomorrow's supposed to be the same way, and then it's down in the 50s, so it's kind of cool to be out. But they say 70s maybe this weekend, so maybe we get a chance to get out.
Right. Well, we had a good jump since Saturday. Most of the information that got sent out did prompt a lot of activity.
I saw we went to 46, and we have more than that now.
No, it's holding at 46 right now.
Okay.
But I feel like I'm actively engaged with about a good 10, which you know, that's a pulse of anything. You know, this kind of entry number where we are just inside of what 3 weeks of the event. That's high. That's pretty big. So, you know, the common nature that everyone has is a mad dash finish at the end. So
I imagine everybody's just still kind of anxious about trying to get things started up again here and stuff like that.
Yeah.
When's my dentist going to be open, and when am I going to get my hair cut and my manicure and stuff like that?
Yeah, and with the phase in, the governor who he had his press conference earlier this week about what a phase into normalcy looks like. It looks like it's going to be every week something gets kind of introduced back into opening, and still with precautions or
social distancing measures, and stuff like that.
So just a little test right here. Since I've been talking with you on the line so far, what is it that you see on my screen just to kind of QC?
I've got the homepage for the Cap City AM tour. It says, "Welcome to Columbus, Ohio Tour Talk Episode 2."
Cool. So it's doing its job right now. The action looks like we are recording this time. We got that figured out.
Yeah, I got the little record button up there. Is this this is for the web page or for the Facebook page, right?
This will eventually become what you'll see on a Facebook page, and it will also be background to the website that's currently in design.
Okay.
All right. So we're just going to go ahead and get started right into some of the topics since we're already online. So I got right now, we're just after a couple minutes after 7. So, the goal is to try to get it all squeezed in at 7:45. But if we do spill over, they're just simply going to just fall back in to the session, and we'll continue where we left off. All right. So again, some of the tips to keep in mind while here. Everyone's muted upon entry, session's recorded. So if you are interacting, just know that it's recorded for purposes that once this is over, it'll be converted to a video file and it will be posted on YouTube. I put in there, use the chat function. I don't know, last time I did this, I couldn't see the chat function. So it's a matter of if you guys want to communicate, ask questions to each other privately, you may do so. But then when speaking, I'll try to do the same. I remember last time I had a kid in the background, but you can't avoid all things, but try to focus on that. So this was the topics. What you're seeing here, again, this is a new kind of background. I really improved what the appearance looks like since the last time I did this. Put some things in here. We're going to start with the recap of what that last tour talk episode included. We'll look over the tour database, what it looks like right now, as I've updated quite a few things to it. I kind of got a segment here. It's called Next T, basically what's next up on the schedule. And that is our first event, which is the Country Club of Muirfield Village. We're also going to continue on with Shaker Run, as just this morning I got our director down in Cincinnati area announced to what registration and how the methods of payment are to enter that event looks like. We're going to look at the whole schedule as a little snapshot. We've got a lot of guests who reached out to me after this video, quickly just try to ask what the schedule looks like overall, so I felt like it was appropriate to toss it in here. Then we're going to make the turn, kind of pause and kind of get you guys to come up for air, myself included, and see if you got any questions on how we're doing. And again, self-explanatory. If you're reading the topics, we'll go over and kind of skim onto some of those items listed. So let's get right into the recap. So we had the first tour talk on Saturday on the 25th, and then now we're going to host, I'll be here hosting every Wednesday at 7 on a weekly. There are a couple videos out there on YouTube. If you wanted to watch those, I encourage you to do so. They look pretty lengthy. The first one is there 44 minutes, but if you go out there, there is a recap window where you can expand it, and it can show you the topics and what time of the video it begins its discussion. So that way it can kind of create a chapter based look and index as to what's discussed and when. So those two videos right there, it was wonderful to create. It really goes from A to Z, introducing and speaking to the inception of what we're calling the Capital City Amateur Tour. So this conversation in those videos, it answers a vast majority of those questions. What the model is, or what the tour mode is, how social distance will be combined in tournament golf, what those membership costs are, what can you win, and how can you enter events. So with the how to enter events, that's kind of number one here. So we'll get right into it. It's right here. This database, I kind of talk to it like it's the Golf Genius software that was the tournament manager database to us directors. And it was also the player member database that you saw as a member of the tour, what you can see about the tour, frequently asked questions, and then we'll just kind of hop in here and take a look at what those updates. Okay. It's not linked because I changed it. So we'll go right in here. This is what it looks like. You guys still with me? You're able to see this? Yep. Okay.
Yep. No problem.
So what you're seeing in here is the general area, the event information, and Players Club. What I did was I updated the tour talk. So if you go to this database, when I send it out to you, you'll see it right here, a couple thumbnails that tell you, and here we are talking today in episode 2. I'll maximize that a little bit. So jumping back out, what I also did here on the schedule and event pages, this is a new little quick summary. So we're talking right here, which is our first event at the Muirfield Village Country Club. So let me zoom in on this a little bit better for the eyes of the video. So we're right here, event entry, the date, and what I put in here is a quick overview. I've only built out the first event because that's kind of what the focus is right now. Many events right now, their outlook is only within 30 days. So you'll kind of see these numbers and people begin registering for events. And I'll know if social distancing will be at hand as far as what the field max will look like, because it will based on number of carts, but then the max could go higher because you can walk. Right now we have 46 entries for our first event. There's 60 carts, and there's basically no field max because any number over 60, you can walk and play. One thing here, going into the event page, you can kind of see, excuse me, you can see the options to enter for payment, still highlighted. My email address has changed to the domain there for Capital City Am Tour, contact information to reach out to me. Again, information here highlighting basically the info that I want it to kind of pop off the page, direct your attention to. Here's something that's neat, where as players register, okay, it's player name sequenced in last name order. We go over here, and I built out the projected prize fund based on those entrants. The optional side games that you can see here of those who have entered. So if we kind of scale back and put this to work, once I get an entry of a player, okay, I'll put them in here, add them to the player roster. Let's just focus on what you can see. Let's see the senior sneak flight right here. Once I do select the senior sneak flight, it'll jump to 4, okay? The total number of players goes to 47. Zoom in there. And if we go back out to the dashboard, schedule events, the entry count with the 47. So it's all kind of wired into each other. And it really helps me and you when you see this, ease of use to kind of see what currency there are with the field. And it also does the same. So let me delete this out, take it back to 46. If we go over here and we look at the optional side games, let's just throw some X's in here. And if I go to senior sneak again, and I put an X for flight skins and super skins, you can see those numbers jump up from 6 to 21. And it's all formula based off the flight that I'm in, that I select here. If I take it out, it should go back. So that's just me. Data's protected right here. So overall, those are some updates to the spreadsheet. It works like a website. If you know anything about a website, what's behind a web page is formulas just like this. So we'll jump back out to the PowerPoint and go continue with our topics here. And on to our next topic. So the next event. Our next on the T is our first event. Registration is now open. The event date's Monday. It's still holding straight tees. Once we get to that number, I reached out to the course to see if the 60 number cart is still solid. And if we can go earlier than 10, you know, I said 10 because, you know, with the frost and kind of weather that's going on in the morning, it gives time for the crew to get out on the course to kind of get the course ready and play in condition for our tournament on that Monday. So that's why 10 o'clock is there. But if we go into a higher number, I'm certainly wanting to squeeze more onto the course, so it might bump us up to 9. And if an 8 is something that they can pull off, maybe we do that. Our next event after this, the second one on the schedule, it's the Shaker Run Tournament, which again features our first leg of 3 for the Ohio Ryder Cup Series. I'm gonna highlight right here that it's now being pushed to Sunday. Originally, that was Saturday, May 23rd. It's now Sunday, May 24th. Entry is $80. We're split tees. This is kind of how the format and setup will be. Senior flights will go off at 11:30, and the open flight is at 12:30. When I push out this database, we go into that event, Shaker Run. All the registration information is here on how to pay, who to pay, and, you know, again, steps to do it. So it's Matt Johnson, and if you're out there listening to this and heavily engaged with what's going on, do not send me the money. This event, again, is being hosted by Matt Johnson, so pay him, because if it goes to me, it will be a mess or a deal to send money. You're in an event. So again, this is Shaker Run, hosted and organized by Matt Johnson, and just be very careful to the details of method of payment when you enter that event. All right, so we'll jump back out. Looking at the schedule. So right now, this is just, again, it's on the dashboard, but to toss it into this Zoom session here, this is the schedule in one snapshot. So we'll pause here just a minute to keep it in duration on the video, just to showcase an overall view of all the events that are currently being secured to be held on the capital city. All right. So we'll do one more topic and then we'll kind of make the turn, come up for air for some questions. Last Tour Talk, this was a segment that kind of got chopped off. Those who were live in the discussion, we did go through it. However, when we realized we weren't recording, I recognized looking back that this was overlooked, or sorry, it just wasn't recorded. So here is the handicap parameters for each flight. Popular question, especially for new players and even those who are current, trying to decide what their flight placement is and if they want to move up or down. So every flight is tiered out by 4 strokes. You can see the Woods flight is 0 to 3.9, Palmer to 4.0 to 7.9. And right now, if you're a player out there that when we flip the switch, if you were looking at moving down a flight and it was not permitted due to, the 1 stroke to higher threshold, or 1 stroke above the lower threshold, or 2 strokes above the lower threshold, whichever that rule was that was in effect for that season, that no longer applies. If you are for example, if you are a 12.5 handicap and you join these events this season coming into it, I'm gonna put you in the Saracen flight at 12.5. So only logic says that if you were a 12.9 handicap, you were not permitted to move down in past years on the previous amateur tour. This year you can. So why would I be able to permit someone to be placed in Saracen at 12.5 and a pre-existing tour member who participated in X number of events to achieve a handicap index can't? So that's not going to happen. So if you want to move down a flight, it will be managed. It will be revised every month. And if you happen to go back up because of play improvement, well, that's where you go back up, and that's where you got to stay due to the promotion. Scoring, moving over to the right hand of this. So scoring, this is how it's going to work. There will be 2 available options for our first event. However, 1 at minimum will occur. So I will talk briefly that we will have a live scoring app available for use. It's only as good as if everyone does it. So it's an app that's on your phone. It's called the Golf Game Book. It's a simple app that you can have leaderboard and have a skins game connected to it. However, it cannot be broken down by a flight basis. So it's just one massive leaderboard. If you're interested to use it for your leisure while playing tournament golf, by all means, it's there for you. Okay, but it won't be technically mandated for use because it just doesn't function the way our tour structure is created by the parameters of each flight. So moving on how it will at minimum occur is by the course scorecard that's provided by the course itself. So what happens is these events looks like we're set up to do threesomes, single cart, off the first tee. When you're finished with your round, you don't have to really attest the scorecard by signing it. You don't have to come close to each other to do that. All it's needed is basically, each one of you can take 3 scorecards out on the course, take an extra one for the end of the round. When you're all done, transcribe all your scores to that one scorecard for legibility purposes. Once that occurs, everyone read off their scores, and it could be anybody in the group. Send it to myself and everyone in the group. And then what you have here is a means in which everyone receive it as it's being presented to me, and each player just goes ahead and attests their score. So if player A, B, and C is in a group, player A sends it to B and C and myself in one mass text, and player B goes in and says, I attest. Player C goes in and says he or she attests. And in that way, I have everyone attesting their scorecard with this, and I'll use that and act it as a signature for it. And what I'll do is I'll respond back and acknowledge that I received it, and I will use those scores to update. And then the next day, we will announce and award our champions. So that's how scoring is going to work. And we'll go ahead and get everyone's input. So we're kind of halfway through this, and we'll go some questions and we'll continue. What you guys think about that? Mike, check.
I saw it last time. So. I did look at the golf game book thing on the app for it, and it doesn't look like it's as easy as the other one that we used for the national tour. as far as putting stuff in, but it's workable. I think you just got to get used to using it.
Yeah, I played around with it, did a little trial run with it. It is very basic to the user. It's just new. I think anything that's new, it kind of comes with some awkwardness and hesitancy to use it. But in the end, once you kind of get going through it, again, it only requires one person to do it. One person can keep the score of everyone in a group, but it just gives the field view of how well you are. And if you can kind of figure out where your competition is, again, you got to kind of eye scan that. But that's too much to push on you guys while you're playing golf alone. Try to, keep yourself away from each other, to kind of do the etiquette of social distancing. To throw this on top of it, it's a handful. So that's why what's normal to you is the paper scorecard, and that's why at minimum, that's what we're going to do.
Okay.
Any other questions out there before we continue with the rest?
Yeah, Jacob, I got a question.
What's up, Bryson?
Are you guys going to be doing different tee yardages?
Yep.
As well? Okay,
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so yardage-wise, let me we're here on our first event. Yardages will be, if you can look it up, if you want to look up the course scorecard yourself for the event that we're having, you'll see right here on the event page what flights and what tees they're playing from. So I think you are in the Hogan flight this year, Preston, so you're going to be doing from the white tees.
Okay.
And right now, I don't, off the top of my head, don't know that yardage, but it does fall within what you're accustomed to playing. As I think it's 6,200 to 6,600 for that flight.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense then.
Okay. All right, good questions out there. Keep them coming. And most of the agenda here, these topics I put together were from questions that I received since Saturday to kind of toss up here to have discussed on today. All right, so we'll just continue on. Social distancing. So social distancing, this is again kind of a repeat of what you saw here in the last video, but we got to go over it again because it seems to be prevalent for the conditions that we will be having for this event. Again, this touchless ball retriever that's in the on the flag stick here. This was a product that the Country Club in Muirfield Village informed me that they had purchased. Hopefully it's here and put in place for our event. Each individual who's playing in this tournament shall receive a personal size bottle of hand sanitizer as they do play their round. One thing I did browse upon, why this topic is still here, is the USGA last week sent out a modification, per se, of the rules as to what is deemed as being hold out. We kind of walked through some of that on the red carpet style last week, where that question was posed by one of the members on the session here about hitting a putt or hitting a ball, and it happens to fall in the hole, but then pops out because of the cups are upside down, or the pool noodle's too high, or the stick's not in the ground, it's not planted securely within the flag stick. So there's certainly going to be a declaration of how our tournament will address what's called hold out. So there are some leaning forward kind of positions I have on it, and what's to consider here is the rule of being hold out is that the ball has to fall beneath the surface of the green within the circumference of the cup. That's USGA. In the social distancing, they have said that, because of raised cups, that if a person were to happen to putt towards the hole and it touches the raised cup, that's considered hold out, and players can use the score they achieve for handicap purposes. So it's certainly going to be an event by event situation to determine if those cups are raised, which I don't think they will be. But if a ball happens to fall in the hole, like it falls in the cup and it bounces out, I'm leaning forward to say that what's going to be on the rule sheet is that will be a hold out putt. When it falls beneath the surface of the green, although it doesn't rest in the cup, it would have had it not be for the altered conditions that we're playing with how the flag sticks and cups are being set up for our tournament. So that's a very popular topic. Another one came up about flag sticks not being securely in the cup. Sometimes wind could be a factor. Sometimes it could just be poor, or I guess not poor, but basically the cups are not firmly down into the ground. And the stick is leaning towards the direction of the ball rolling to the hole if you're off the green chipping into it, or if you're putting on the green and putting towards it, with the flag stick just does not stand up straight. And because of social distancing, it's advised that you don't touch the flag. So how do you properly have a fair way of making a putt to the hole? There was ideas floating around by either providing boxes of latex gloves, so that way as you approach the hole, one person can touch the flag stick, use a latex glove, take the flag stick out, so everyone has a clean putt at the a hole that doesn't have a flag stick in it. Because of that reason, that's a lot of boxes of latex gloves. Another one was remove the flag sticks entirely, where when you do that, provide the players with pin sheets. Okay. So you're swinging the pendulum, whether you have flag sticks, and it can create a disadvantage to 1 to 2 to maybe a handful of players around. And if you remove the flag sticks entirely, that affects the whole entire field. And people just don't get used to the pin sheet way of doing it. And then a lot of the players use their their laser finders to measure out the greens and et cetera. So there's just a wide variety of how you can address this. But again, it's going to be all dependent upon what the course is able to do, what kind of cups they have, what kind of mechanisms like this that they have provided to kind of offset what they're trying to implement, the use of social distancing. So we got some time here and enough to kind of continue to the rest. What's the sound of that? How's that reach the ears to out those listening? Sounds like a well-covered topic. All right, so we'll move on. All right, well, give me fist bump. Give me knuckle sandwich. My son's laying in the room. Okay, so we'll get some of you guys out here. So look, my son. So we'll pause right here. This is pretty cool. If you guys can kind of see this. What's this called, Landon? What's this called? It's the thumbs up thing. That's what he calls it. But this is basically a like counter. So it's connected to Facebook. Right now we have how many likes?
505.
Yeah, we have 505 likes on Facebook. And when it moves, so if you're out there and you're watching, this would be sweet if it happened during this live feed. If someone liked our page right now, the counter would move. That's how this works. And he goes crazy in the house. Like he'll hear it. It sounds like a woodpecker when it goes off.
Hey.
And you make an announcement, you run around the house, you take the golf clubs out of here, and you kind of just get happy. So if you're out there watching and you're live with us or whatever, and you have not liked our page, go out there and like it and see what happens. So, but anyway, it's a like counter. He's here informally with us. He's just playing or watching something and eating pizza. All right, so let's move on.
It's not.
All right, so this is one thing again. We're looking at our membership. This is what I like, man. This is what I like. No one can compete with this one. It's free. The membership is free to this tour. There's no membership to participate in these events. What's required of you to play is a good attitude. You love to play golf, and you love competitive golf, and you just like to play on courses that otherwise, courses that are private that otherwise you couldn't play unless you were a member. This is the best deal. You can't beat it anywhere if you're seeking for a choice of tournament golf. Yes, there's some things I do need to add you to a player directory, verifiable handicap, a screenshot, as guys are on the tour know that this is occurring. That's being policed, so that way flight placement is there. That kind of mitigates, people not playing competitively within their right flight, and we know the S word out there for that. But that's still being policed. That's still something I require of those that are out there that want to join and play on this. So I go and vet that process. And that's kind of why, Tom, you were out there asking, right now we're at 46. There's a good handful, about 10 players that are trying to give me that information, and we should get into the mid 50s once I do see that. So anyway, moving on. If there was a great time, get your buddies on this. I got 5 new people that's gone through this process, providing handicaps. So some of you out there are promoting, are cheerleading, trying to get this to the draw that we desire. So again, there's no cost. If you don't, you're not signing up a membership. If you have second thoughts and something comes up later because of planning that the family decides to do as we get closer to the event, you can withdraw your fee, withdraw your registration, or withdraw your entry with no cancellation fee, as long as you do that before the registration closes. This is awesome. I have some sound effects last time. So this is a good one. We're going to trophy and prize. What can I win? That choice is yours. Since last event, this is the same thing. We had this on the backdrop here. What can you win? All right, so you guys think about it. There's no awarding of a flight, or there's no awarding of a trophy on the day of the tournament. You're going home. So why would I buy a pre-purchase trophies that I can't give to you? So the next day when we have this award and trophy ceremony, like this style right here, and we're announcing champions for flight, you're going to have a choice. Here's the current fields. Here's the current projected prize fund. So you saw the trophy thing, the projected prize fund right here. I know I got a Hogan player out there watching with us live. So the Hogan flight right now has a field of 15 members. If you end up winning your flight, Tim Jameson, you have the option of either A, I would like the first place prize of the $220 Visa gift card and the trophy, or you're like, you know what, let's go all in and let's get that $295. So that choice is yours, and that choice can occur again. After we announce that you were the flight winner, you just tell me what your choice is, and the trophy, if you choose that route, will be mailed to your address. So we'll kind of high-five each other from afar. You'll get a trophy in the mail, and that's how we celebrate, and that's how we award our champions. All right, on to the next one here, web design. So as you know, you've seen this tour database. It's not something that, after you receive it, it's not connected between me and you. It's not a live document. However, I'm currently in the development with a partner that's on tour. I'm one of the members of achieving what can be a live feed, much like you can browse, much like this document works. All the background data and formula will just be presented on the website. So there's no timetable for it. I said I would like to have it before our next local event, which is Zanesville on June 13th. And in the world of web development, 45 days seems achievable. But it's not going to be ready before May 18th, I can tell you that. So we'll have a Facebook page coming soon. Again, we have 505 likes. It's just going to be repurposed to the page that we currently have, as those likes represent the conducting of the tour, and it'll eventually be the brand of the capital city. All right. So, so how to enter? So why enter these events? Okay, you can kind of see there, it's well run, number one. Okay, we got 29 reviews, all 5 stars. Now we were at 503 when I created this. We're at 505 now. These are gross stroke play tournaments flighted based upon a handicap. There's no membership. There's no entry cancellation fee. All the side games are 100% cash in, cash out. And here again, there's no membership. If you win your flight, you have the choice of a Visa gift card trophy or the Visa gift card that includes the trophy expense. Again, I can't tell you how organized and structured, and the rules are here too. You're looking at what is occurring off the course of how organized and how professional this is laid out and presented to you right now. So what do you think is going to occur when you got to get paid? What do you think is going to get occurred on how the conduct that you have, if you have questions, how they're going to be handled fairly? These events are all on private courses. And if you compare them to anything similar that's out there, it's going to be equal to or less than the entry price to what you find. And you're going to get more for your money. The average award per player is $42 versus those similar type events, associations, golf associations, whatever tour, the fill in the blank tour. I award fairly and not equally. What that means is I played in other tours. I played in other events, amateur events, where I'm a guy that, wins a flight of 3 and another guy, he wins his flight of 9, I'll get 100 and he'll get 120. He had to beat 8 people to get 120. I had to beat 2 to get 100. That's not fair. That's not right either. So award fairly. It's based upon the number of players that's in your flight, which creates the prize award. The rounds themselves, they're marshaled. We ranged them 4.5 hours or less. With threesomes, I think we're going to play a lot faster, especially if you're on cart and with social distancing. And we also award a season flight champion, a trophy and prize. So if you're interested in knowing what that is, the Capital City point standing, last year at our tour championship awarded a combined $10,000 plus as a result of the Capital City and the tournament of our tour championship show. And if I ran through so many reasons and you're still wondering why this is a good thing to do, go back and see number 1 and 2. Just drop the mic. Just drop it. Just drop the mic. Just walk out. I'm just proud of it. It's just no other convenient way to say that this is a good thing for you to do. So this kind of wraps up the things I wanted to present to you guys. We're T-minus 4 minutes here. Our next Zoom will be, again, we're doing weeklies at 7. So here we are on Wednesday, May 6th for our next tour talk. And before I kind of jump off here, I'm gonna reach out to you guys who are on with me now and see if you got anything as far as feedback.
I do have just one question, Jacob. When you these recordings, you've got them on YouTube. How do we search the YouTube? What do we use, like CCAT or?
You can do Capital City Amateur Tour. You can do. Okay. I did EP episode 1. Basically, when I send out the emails, I'll put some keyword tag language in there so it can help you navigate to where these videos are located.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Jacob, do you think any more about what I talked to you about? If it's windy out and somebody holding the flag straight up and down, if the flags are leaning?
Yeah, I have thought about it. Again, I haven't really come to what you will eventually see written on the rule sheet, but that's certainly on my ledger to declare once we arrive at tournament.
Because, I mean, some people probably ain't going to like the flag in. Like I said, we had no problems with it so far. The different courses we played, the only problem we had was, you know, the sticks were a little bit old, cups are a little bit old, and any type of wind, you're putting straight at it, and you're at a real disadvantage.
Right.
If just straight up and down, typically if you're not trying to ram it, it'll go in, but
right.
When it's leaning at you, it's going to hit the stick and come right back.
Yeah, I really want to give you guys an option to remove the flag when putting. So, you know, that whole latex glove thing, you know, as minor as it may seem, if the course says don't touch it, that's where we're at. And then everyone has the same fair and equal advantage to what it is. So, but I'll certainly have that in the parking lot of things to address and declare as far as how we're going to play that in an event. Yep. So we're T-minus 1 minute and 40 seconds.
Yeah. I was going to say, because that's the only thing we've really come across right now, because we're not touching rigs, we're smoothing with our feet and all that stuff. So everything's been working great. Okay.
We'll take it. All right. Dr. Preston.
Yes, sir.
This first time you on board with us, man. Congratulations. You know, your season champ last year.
Yeah.
How you like this? How's it looking at? How's it meet your eye?
I'm definitely pumped for it, honestly. I was actually sad when I heard that you guys were canceling the season, but this is a breath of fresh air. Right. I'm not as good as I was last year. gained a lot of weight too.
Yeah, so. I got my COVID-19 on as well, man. I got some weight on me too. So yeah, I'm certainly excited. This is something, again, I spoke to it, you know, it's a desire to speak. This is set up speaking to the player that's in me and also in you. I'm trying to match that excitement with my dedication and level of commitment to bring you a very good product that we can call tournament golf and have a season to it.
Well, you know you're the best, so.
Man, come on, man. Stop, man. All right, so we're less than a minute. I'm going to go ahead and wrap. Thanks, buddy. I'm going to wrap this up so that way it finishes all in a one segment. Thank you for participating. I'll toss this out to you guys in email. Stay tuned, stay touched. And we look forward to having you guys again back here next Wednesday, May 6th. Tour Talk on the Capital City Amateur Tour.
Thanks, Jacob.